words, talking about LaMelo, and here's what he said about the new coach, because they have a new coach called Dennis Lattimore. He said, it's a new coach, and I don't like him one bit. LaMelo doesn't have to be dealing with those knuckleheads. So I get it, but I guess the thing that kind of I'm at a misunderstanding or not fully understanding is that you pulled your kid out of school because of the basketball coach. And I'm just wondering, I don't know the geographic area in Chino Hills, but, I'm just wondering if there was another school that maybe he could go to, that he could transfer to. Maybe, maybe that school that he could transfer to is not that well. But, basketball, I understand they're pretty much trying to prepare this kid for basketball to be his life. So I understand that. But pulling him out of school, I just don't know. And I'm not saying that, he can't pull him out of school, because there's been plenty of parents that have homeschooled their kids and everything is all right. Everything is fine. But it seems like it's based around the coach, it's based around, the sport. So I don't know. I'm just wondering. I bring this up because I really want to know what, people in the chat, have to say, An angry black man, he says in the chat room, he said, he's speaking with Big L, he said, AAU is how these kids get ranked and get that scholarship if they play for their high school. That's a bonus for the high school. And angry black man brings up a very good point. I talked about this and I told this story definitely last year. Sam Mitchell, who was a former NBA player and also a coach in the NBA, he was speaking about his nephew. And his nephew, I think, was 6'10" or something like that. And that's exactly what they were referencing, was that they told his nephew, you don't have to play for the high school. Just come to the AAU games, ball out, and then that's where you're going to get ranked, and that's how you're going to get your scholarship. So maybe that's how LeVar is looking at it, is that, hey, we're doing the high school a favor, which could be true, because if they're winning, guess what? That opens up the lane for these high schools to get the next kid to come in there. We all know they find an address, put an address to make them, legit, to go to a certain school or anything like that. That's nothing new, but Big L said high school basketball is not needed anymore. So maybe that's where we're transitioning to, and LeVar just, he said it. And again, that's what I'm saying. I don't have I'm not saying that it's a big problem, but it's just an interesting situation, that he's just, because he's a sophomore. So we're talking about 2 more years, of him, playing ball, maybe on an AAU team and not on a high school level, which, according to Angry Black Man, it don't even matter. So maybe that's my answer right there. Yeah, Cedric Galloway said he still has a standing scholarship offer from UCLA. Great point. That is a great point, Sid. So he doesn't need the high school. The high school needs him. He already has an offer from a school. He already wanted to go to UCLA anyway. That was the only place that he's saying that he wanted to go. And of course, his parents want him to go. And he's ranked, I think, number 8th in guards, maybe point guards or whatever. But this is starting to make more sense. And I don't know if this could be a trend, because I don't know how many, parents are going to want to teach their kids at home. But if you got a problem, pull them out. Wow. That's why I brought this up. This is why I like bringing topics also to the listeners, because they get to give their input, and then we get answers and solutions. That is why I love this show, and that is why I love my listeners. So now having this discussion live, with the listeners on it, I get it. You're in a position to do that. If you're in a position to do that, fine. Do it. As long as the brother's getting his education and he passes classes and all that stuff like he's supposed to, he graduates, whatever, boom. I have no problem with it. So I am on Team LeVar Ball side right now. It's just, hey, he said he got a problem with the coach. So whether he right or wrong, he removed his son from the situation, didn't want him to be a part of all that. We all know there are politics in basketball or in sports just in general. So it makes sense. He pulled the big baller move. So I can't argue with that. Can't argue with that at all. Next up, what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a brother who basically has used the term "it wasn't me" in the last 4 or 5 years. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about in just a moment after we come back from this commercial. So sit tight, relax, and we'll be back. And we'll expound upon what I'm talking about.
Ladies, have you been experiencing tough times lately? Is your man not eating the potato salad the way he used to? Things a little stressful at work? Well, I'm sure your girls have told you that there's a new spot in town. So come on over to SME After Dark and allow me, Christopher Tracy, and the Honorable Deacon Aloysius Forever Love serve you up with some solutions to your problems in the Lonely Hearts Cafe.
If I tell you that I love you, then I love you. If I tell you that I trust you, then I trust you. But don't lie to me. Don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. Don't lie to me. Don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. If I tell you that I love you, then I love you.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You gotta check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yo, this is your boy Keith C from the
Kicking It With Keith C show.
When I want to jam, I'm jamming with Queen Josie and DJ New as they're kicking those vibes.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
Give it to you. Any and all resistance will crumble. Nonsense. There's never been a threat Squad couldn't handle. It is the purpose of the Squad to align our infamous forces against the powers of good and defeat them, leaving us, the rulers of the world.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Vince Wright, the sports governor, and you know me from the Sports Done Right show. But when I'm not doing Sports Done Right, I'm in the executive mansion chilling with the Wait a Minute show. That's right, Jelani, Lopan, indeed. Keep it tuned here, y'all. The Wait a Minute show. My name is Vince Wright, and I approve this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and you are listening to
It's the Wait a Minute show
with your man Jelani JB Bodie and my tired co-host who party all weekend at TDSS3 and off into the early parts of the week, Lopan. Indeed. Yeah, so Lopan is almost fully recovered from going hard over the past few days. But we were talking about, before we went to the break, about, this brother that talking about, it wasn't me. It's not my fault. What had happened was, you got to see, it just seems like there are just a few Too many excuses. And who am I talking about? I am talking about none other than former NBA and at this point looks like former NCAA coach Rick Pitino. I bring this up because we talked about this whole bribery, deal in the NCAA where guys, it was Auburn, Oklahoma State, USC, Arizona, and some other schools that was involved, in these briberies, with Adidas and everything. And now, the FBI is involved in it, and it is just getting crazy. And we talked about how deep this thing would go. And to me, it's going to go even deeper. Now, Louisville was mentioned in this investigation. So obviously now the red flag goes up about Rick Pitino, and they want him out. So they have unanimously decided, to go ahead and let him go. I don't know if he's been let go officially yet, but they are basically working on, letting him, go off into the sunset. And no one in this world should ever question Rick Pitino's, basketball mind, his competitive drive, what he has done, for kids, that has come and played for him, and even, NBA players as well, because he spent a little bit of time in the NBA. No one will question that, and no one should question that. But at this point, it's time to go. The time has finally come, and maybe it's long overdue, but the time is now that they have to go ahead and move on from Rick Pitino, because it is too much stuff that went down. It's too much stuff over the years. And I'm going to go through this timeline, and I did not bring up this timeline, so I'm referencing the score. And this was the Associated Press as well. But going back, where it really started and the spotlight started getting put on Rick Pitino is back in 2009. Now, he had the whole thing where he's dealing with this woman that was not his wife. And now this woman was trying to extort money from him. Not necessarily anything to do with the basketball program, but because you represent the school, not a good look, for you to be indulging in other activities outside of your marriage, So that was looked at as a negative hit, on him. But it's like, all right, hey, we'll move on. We'll see what we can do. We'll work it out and all that stuff. So they kept going forward. Now, that was in 2009. So pretty much for about 6 years, everything was, cool, calm, collective, nothing going on. But in 2015, early 2015, one of his guards was Chris Jones was dismissed from the team, because of a rape and sodomy, of two women at a campus door. Now, it was him and another guy, on two women. This happened on his watch. That was in 2015. Later on in 2015, an escort named Katina Powell alleges in a book that a Cardinal staffer, which was I think a graduate assistant, Andre McGee, hired her and other dancers to do sex parties for current players and for recruits. And they said they did that from 2010 to 2014. So now that goes back from the stuff that went down in 2009. So, after 2009, from 2010 to 2014, you got this alleged, sex parties, going on. So Pitino's like, man, I ain't know nothing about that. I don't know what you're talking about. That's all Andre. Andre did that, man. You got to holler at him, So he gets 4 games. I think he got 4. No, there was 4 violations in the sex scandal, but then he ended up getting 5 games, for that because it happened on his watch. Now you got this whole thing about the Federal Bureau of Investigations. ladies and gentlemen, when you say FBI, it just got